Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 39 of the Key. I am your fantastic and amazing host. Yeah, that's right. I called my you dare freaking scoff, Drexama Dreckenpones here to welcome you to another fantastic episode. Was that scoff from you, Josh? Though that feels like a scoff.
Yeah, that was me.
I don't know why you hate so much too. I discovered you. You should be beholden.
Don't be so gloaty. Be humble.
No, that's not my personality. Have you hung out with me? Humble?
I have. I know how you work.
Humble. You should play me in some Smash, and I'll show you some humble.
Play a real man's game.
You will not beat me in Smash. I am confident there.
That's how it starts. That's how it always starts. I love it.
If that's how you want to compete,
that's how it starts.
Pick another game.
That's how it starts, and then fast forward. I'm licking up your tears.
That was me like Dota, something I don't really have a lot of experience in. Don't
play
Smash.
you in StarCraft 1v1 me, bro. Come.
You wrong game.
Come at me.
Come on, try again.
First to 5.
Street Fighter. What else did you play?
All right, so I'm joined here with host Joshua.
How's it going, guys?
It's funny to listen to you guys argue about which game you can beat each other in, because we all know that there's only one game that really matters. So
the Dota.
It's like you just beat around the bush and like, play 1v1 me Street Fighter, 1v1 me StarCraft. Who cares? Play a real man's game. Then we'll see what matters.
Oh my goodness! Oof.
Wow.
I wasn't prepared for that.
That's like, beat me in cricket, bro. 1v1 me cricket.
We're just here playing with our knives, and he's guys come with this bazooka. Like, oh,
that's
play my
it.
game.
Yeah.
Oh.
You guys, you brought butter knives. That's what it is.
Our other co-host, Strigar.
Okay.
You know what? How about you? Okay, let's correct it once and for all before we move on.
No.
Because every time it's this awkward silence where I'm like,
and that's how the game ends, just like that.
Not with a whisper, but a quiet whimper into the darkness. Yes, just.
That was actually pretty close. You just missed one Y, the middle Y. That's all.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yep, that was it.
Strike wide.
Jesus. Just moving on.
I'll get it one day.
Yeah.
All right.
Eventually.
Oh man, I love this show. Just best time to come in and just get
shit on co-hosts.
Oh goodness. So guys, this is the show where we talk about esports culture and we shit on each other all day long.
Bully each other.
Oh, practically. We have
in a safe environment. Bully in a safe environment. I don't want to take any correctional courses because somebody said bullying. Yeah, that's it. Safe space right here.
Might have to give a bullying camp or whatever that.
No stranger danger here.
Jimmy here is our resident Dota expert, and Josh, you are a competitive casual player.
Competitive casual. All right. Maybe up for Bejeweled, Tetris.
Words with friends. That's where the money's at.
Oh my god, casuals. The future is real. I can't wait for it. That's it.
Mobile esports.
Oh my goodness. The future is now. What a time to be alive when you can finally...
You can win money playing Words with Friends.
Words with Friends. Oh, I've been waiting.
Not even Scrabble.
I've been waiting so long to be able to just do this Words for Friends. This is it. The future is now. So let's go into a quick critical update. So we had the Kings of the North Grand Qualifiers that happened this past weekend. Thoughts?
I was surprised when No Regret won. I didn't see that coming. But
I'm surprised he dropped a game. But
it was actually really impressive, that match. Sarcasm aside, that match was probably the most entertaining of the entire event for me, mainly because I missed the losers final. But yeah, he did. It was I perhaps I just value it more than it actually is. But the hallucination play from Kuhn was nice to watch. It was like a little bit of mind games, and it was good. It was an element of StarCraft that I wasn't really familiar with before.
what I do like is that there were some good matches in there, right? Despite the fact that we did that there weren't our regulars, the regular top tier players, Huck and Massa. We got to see some actually still good matches from the next level of play coming up and coming. So from Twitch chat seemed pretty happy too, from what I saw.
No, you had some good
And
games. In between, you had some good banter going on with the casters. And then you had like No Regret and Steadfast just going off about balance with each other for a good half hour.
there was some, you know what? There was some. Well, there was some really solid conversations going on. There
Yeah.
was obviously the conversation about the game. So I like to listen to Steadfast. I think
It was
he's
constructive.
very constructive. And then then you have the element where No Regret was discussing dating advice or whatever with what's her name.
Oh my god.
I was just like,
It's always good to throw in some life advice into the mix, you know.
He's like, are you kidding me? I don't talk to girls. I freaking
People want to
laughed
know
so
though.
hard.
I mean, you can't just ignore it. People want to know.
Yeah, that was.
I can last longer than 5 minutes. So,
Yeah.
it was entertaining on our end. I got to watch it. My favorite part was to see a lot of the StarCraft community come out to support, which was surprising at first. Like I didn't want to put it out, but
I'm still
everyone's
surprised.
we had a good amount of people who came to support the event. So,
Yep.
you
Early
know,
on in the day, there was like one spectator, and she was like, "Anybody else coming?" And I was like, "Nope, this is it." And then it was like 20 people showed up, and I'm like, "Huh? What
this came,
happened?"
this came pouring in. So it was great to see that level of support
Who's all
from
these
the
people?
community.
You all know about StarCraft 2?
What you all doing in the North End, eh?
Mm.
It was great to see, and it was a lot of fun,
It
and
was. It really was.
it was a lot of energy.
Well,
Um,
it was, but it wasn't energy drinks, so make that distinction.
nope,
No
caffeinated
energy
beverages.
drinks. Caffeinated beverages.
Caffeinated beverages. We'd like to thank you, Mountain Dew, for sending us over that sweet, sweet nectar of the gods.
Favorite
Mm.
flavors? What was your favorite flavor, Josh?
Cherry. Oh,
No, not you,
Josh
Josh. I want
Josh
to know
wasn't
I
Josh's
there.
haven't- I
favorite.
haven't-
He didn't
yeah, I
That's
touch
why
it.
haven't
I'm
any.
asking him. Jesus.
Okay, not bad.
What was your favorite flavor? You
Huh?
asked
I
the
didn't have
question,
any.
So I want your input.
I didn't try any.
Answer your question with a
That's disappointing.
question. Take my question. All right.
I just sat at home and drank coffee all day, so coffee was
Even
my
better.
favorite flavor. Yeah.
Coffee flavored
Alright.
Mountain Dew.
Coffee
Let's move
flavored
on.
coffee.
Let's jump right into it. All right, DraftKings, our favorite gambling consortium. Yep.
I don't know.
Oh,
More,
so okay,
more of a
Josh,
FanDuel guy myself. No, I'm joking. Carry on.
king of gambling. That's you, Josh, king of gambling. Anyways, DraftKings drops its sponsorship from eSports organization.
I guess they
The
won the
dream
race.
is dead. Yes.
I guess Alpha Draft won the race then, I guess. Is that basically what we can...
Did they? Like, I just think this is indicative that Alpha Draft is next.
Is it? I don't know. I thought that
Yeah.
basically like there wasn't enough to go around, so one was gonna
No.
win, and Alpha Draft is now the winner. I thought.
Honestly, okay. So we touched upon this in our last discussion, and heaven forbid that we beat a discussion to death. But there's three of them, three more. Alpha Draft, Ukraine, and Vulcan are still children in this fantasy esports world.
Oh right, I forgot about Unicorn.
I like it. Never. I don't know why. Is it just me, or did it
'Cause you
fall
don't
into the
gamble.
background? Oh, I
That's
don't
'cause
get.
you
I
don't
gamble. Yeah, but I still knew who Alpha Draft is, and I still knew who FanDuel
Yeah,
is.
because they just dropped their team, so they got that publicity. That's the only reason. Otherwise, you would have forgotten about them.
Okay, but Ukraine and Vulcan. Vulcan was pretty in League of Legends. Those people were pretty intense.
But okay, so there's a bit of a difference from what I understand. Vulcan and Unicorn aren't a fantasy betting website like Alpha
What?
Draft.
Really?
No,
the same?
they're betting websites. They're not, but they're not. They're of a different variety. You know what I mean? It's like there's different types of beef, and this is like they're a different type of beef. That's basically it. Like if you eat beef, then maybe you consume all three types. But from what I understand, Vulcan is like you're betting on like specific events or occurrences or stuff in a game, like predictions. Whereas Alpha Draft and whatnot are fantasy sites. Like you build a team and like You get like the better the team that you built does, then the more points you get, etc., etc. No,
I don't know. I feel like this is all like I feel like it's the same thing, just played differently. It don't no
No,
like I
no.
no, it's not.
okay
That's
okay
definitely not the.
okay. Then I feel like this one area of esports I'm super ignorant in, like because I
Well,
don't understand. I don't understand fundamental gambling. Like I don't participate in it. And obviously, it's
All
very
right,
simple
let's get to the root of this issue. What don't you understand?
about gambling or about
Yeah,
the
it's a
situation
game.
that they're
It's
in.
a game in and itself. Gambling. No, like what about
it,
gambling? Don't you understand? It
well,
might not be your type of fun, but it's someone type of fun.
esports and gambling is kind of like Inception. It's a game in a game.
Mm.
Like that's
Yeah.
it's not, but at the same time,
But
there's
it's not
not
the same
much
as
to
like
understand
poker
about it.
and
Like
like it's not the same as poker or like craps or any of those other gambling games. It's
Yeah,
just
but it rewards you for like watching all those games. You feel like you have insight, and you're like, oh, I know who's gonna win this. I'm following them.
it's
Oh, this
well,
player's not playing this week. Like
it's no
like you
different
think
than
you have an
sports
edge.
gambling.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Well, he doesn't understand gambling. Period. I think is.
like I get the concept of gambling where it's a game of chance and you might not win, but like the games.
No. Craps and stuff is a game of chance.
Mm.
Fantasy drafts and esports and sports gambling is like there's some chance in there because you can't truly predict what's going to happen, but it lets you test your skills at predicting. That's why it's
Yeah.
appealing to people, because it's not truly random. Although you can't predict the future, you can put your knowledge to the test and potentially win some money the better you are. Like there's people who have won like sports gambling like 6-7 times, like the first place prize, like millions of dollars 6-7 times, because they
I don't know.
they calculate every detail, like down to who the referee for this match is, like
Yeah.
as a factor.
Okay,
Like-
when you put it like that, it almost sound like, it does sound like borderline skill, but isn't it like I don't know? I'm trying to think to myself when I
Not
when I say
borderline
it.
skill. There is skill in it. Not as much skill as required to play the game, but you know, there is skill involved. Knowledge, like prediction skills.
But
I
not
said,
like trivia skill. Like it's not like Jeopardy.
No, it's not
is
just
a-
a matter of answering a question, right?
But it's a
you
matter.
still-
There's knowledge, and it's weighing the odds and
But it
probability
doesn't-
comes to play, right? It's
You-
managing.
if you've ever taken a look at like the Dota 2 compendiums that they release with every major and stuff, and people predict like which hero is going to be picked the most, which hero is going to be banned the most, which hero is going to have the most last hits, who's going to farm the most, who's going to fight the most, all that kind of stuff. Those are all predictions. That's effectively what these gambling websites are
Okay,
doing.
but that's no different than me try to predict the face of a die.
No, that's not the same thing.
Yes, it is very different. It's
It's
very
like it's
different.
like someone telling you, or it's like you knowing that the die is weighted heavily on certain sides, and you
It's-
roll it, and you say, "I know most of the
If
time."
I
it's
know
gonna land on
if
a
I know
3
the
or a 2.
probability of math in terms of how much,
But it's not
It's not-
pure probability.
it's not probability though, because you're making it low. You're over exaggerating the random element. It would be more like you figuring out that Cineplex bought up World Gaming and being like, this venture is gonna be shit, and then it turns out to be shit. It could have been good,
So it's like
but
the
in all
stock market. Then.
likelihood,
Oh, this is like the stock market then, because
Yes.
technically it's
Yes.
the same. Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here I can equate this knowledge now. But stock market's kind of like that, right? You make predictions on stocks based on
Based
certain
on
trends and public available knowledge.
Insider
Okay.
info, like you know that.
Well,
you know,
insider info is illegal, but
no, not really.
yes.
Like
yes.
colluding or insider trading is illegal, but just because you got like insider tip, if somebody has like owns a stock and they're like, I'm gonna crash my stock, you should bet against me right now, that's illegal. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about, like, you know what, toilet paper is gonna be hot in a month because zombies are coming. And you put all your stock in toilet paper.
Yeah,
That's
but
well,
like
just
if
smart.
someone from the company tells you that, then
Okay, that is illegal, but that's not the case all the
no,
time.
no.
Like,
I
that's
say
not-
like if someone tells you that, like from in there, it's like, oh, I just released a zombie apocalypse. Be
Yep.
sure to go buy some toilet paper.
Exactly, and they tell only you. They
Only you,
release-
yes.
And you use that information to bet against their stock. Yeah, that's illegal. Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. I feel like now I have a good grasp.
But like I
Okay.
said, some people they'll like, especially with sports where it's much more developed and much more complicated, I'd say, people will research, like I said, even who the referee is that's like, reffing the fight. Like what's it called? Like there was a recent boxing match. I shouldn't say recent, it's like pretty long time
Manny
ago. But like,
Pacquiao
yeah,
and
but even that, it was like
face.
people who are gambling, who are betting on that fight, right? They're like, okay, who's gonna be the ref? What kind of conditioning is each one coming in at? Like,
I wonder if there's like some minute details like, oh, if he took a shit this morning and it was wrong, we gotta make sure we bet against him because
no,
that means he has bowel problems. And
but they take a lot of these things into consideration, like the weight on the scale and the weigh-ins, how they look, like all these different things. Absolutely.
okay, bringing it
Uh,
back to this though,
yep.
into we have a whole slew of these games
These
which
websites.
these websites. Well, I'm gonna call them individual games because each
Okay.
one is a different game, a game within a game.
Sure.
Sure.
So DraftKings drops Cloud9, Team Solo Mid, Counterlogic Gaming, Complexity, Mouse Sports, SK Gaming.
Did they keep any?
No, everybody got dropped.
Okay.
So
It
this
sounds like a going out of sale, like a going out of business sale. You know what I mean? It's like clearance, going out of business.
get everything must go. So
Yeah.
speculation is
Everything
that
gotta
this
go.
is because they're losing battles in the legal department, right? Layoffs are happening left, right, and center. Children are being dropped from the roofs, right? So they gotta shutter their paid fantasy. Who was the one that changed from paid to was it DraftKings that was like we no longer do pay, or was it somebody else, or was it FanDuel that's like we don't do pay, we
Oh.
only do
I
Points
feel like
or
that was FanDuel.
points or shit. It was Volcran. Anyways, either or, the landscape is shifting,
Oh.
right? Nevada and the rest of them are like, you got to pay your dues. This is obviously gambling. You're in our jurisdiction. Pay up. Anyways, I bring it back to really the only key point. I think this is the end, or not the end, but like this is definitely the end of this era of the rush to the gambling sites because I
well,
remember Mark Cuban was like, "Oh, this is it. I'm gonna just drop a whole bunch of money, and now I have my own fantasy thing." And I don't know if that was the best bet to do.
honestly,
Like you're saying,
it still is. It's still a very like profitable website and service. They tried to grow too quickly. Like the expansion happened too rapidly. And the reason that I say that is because we have established gambling websites that work and have existed for much longer than any of these, new kids.
Isn't
And they're not
DraftKings
under.
though like a large scale like regular thing?
They
Like,
are for regular sports, but their esports like tried to match that, and it tried to do it too quickly, not from a consumer point of view, but from a legal point of view, right? Like they didn't go through the proper channels, it seems, to get to where they need to be in order
okay, but
to
it's
sustain
okay. This is
themselves.
which is what
okay,
I
that
see,
doesn't.
which is weird because isn't FanDuel and DraftKings? How long have they been around? A long time. Is this an attack basically on their esports section, or is this attack on like all of their things?
It's just on their esports section, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's highly profitable, I would imagine. For a
Well,
game.
I don't know.
What I don't get is like why, like they have the right people in place who understand the law and like, I'm assuming the lawyers and all the people to get that done correctly from the esports side of things. It's like it should have been easy, or people aren't just gambling on it. Like that's maybe we overhype or we're hyping up how much people want to gamble on esports.
I honestly, from what I can, like, if I just did a quick look, I'm pretty sure they're attacking the entire DraftKings and FanDuel's platform, like that. The whole platform is being attacked, not esports, but everything is being attacked. So either I think the esports thing is just timed poorly, so they were expanding into esports just as a couple of states were like, "Eh, what is this?"
Yeah. Well,
Eh.
the thing is, the problem with it primarily is the jurisdiction, because esports doesn't take place physically. It takes place electronically. I think that poses one challenge for legislators, because it's like, you might be betting from Arizona, but the match is happening nowhere, right? And then, like, if they need to pay out to somebody, it's like, is the legislation based on where the match is being like taking place, or is it based on where the money is being paid out, or where the money is coming from, and then how do you regulate that? Like, so it's to me, it seems like unmarked territory. It seems like, muddied waters that nobody's cleared up legally.
Okay,
They must have the right people in place. Like I don't get it.
I
And
honestly think they just skirted on the issue for
if
long
it's
enough. And
timing,
everyone
that's
was-
one thing. Yeah,
It's
but if
timing. I think it really was timing that they had been doing this for a long time, and
They should have
nobody in the
executed,
in
yeah.
nobody in like the judicial system could get like I imagine it's probably a long process to get someone to say, hey, stop what you're doing, kind of thing. I don't think they just roll up in the morning and be like, all right, we got to stop this corporation. Probably took time, and then someone noticed it, and they're like, hey, what's happening over here? And they have to go through a long process, and then suddenly, they're under fire from New York and Nevada. This is my
Yeah.
guess. Like, I'll be honest, I don't know. Like, a bit of 50 seconds of Google gave me a bit of a quick rundown of what was happening in the
Either
grand
way,
scheme of
what
things.
the topic of the conversation here really is very clear in that it looks like it's sinking quickly, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Well,
they're.
that's it. That's what I wanted to get down. I think
I mean, let's
we're
let's
done.
just give Draken his 15 minutes of happiness. He really wants to talk about this because gambling is going down, and he's
Oh,
like, "Woo!
you know it. You know it.
Look at them
I
sink! Woo!"
my hardcore Christian values. Ooh, stop
Thou shalt not
the
gamble.
gambling. Thou shalt not play on fantasy esports.
Woo! What about compendiums? Are those against your strict
Oh,
religious
oh
beliefs?
no, that's a complicated. Next topic. Uh, this is gonna be a very interesting discussion. So this actually came from an article talking about the recent stuff of the Dota 2 majors. I'm sure everybody who's watching the show, listening to the show, knows what happened to the Dota 2 majors with James Too Good
I
Harding.
don't know what happened.
Oh, I really like. Do we really? Okay, let's do a little overview. If you don't know, there was a couple segments during the Dota 2 majors that were not savory to those who own it, and they're totally in line, in my personal opinion, with that person's character. But it wasn't received very well.
Such a
Um,
redditor, it's unbelievable.
oh Jesus! By the producers of the show, and he was fired shortly after day one. And Reddit got a hold of it, and it spun into this huge, amorphous type of content that is pretty much
Actually,
over, which has
Reddit
simmered down a little
warriors.
bit. It's simmered down a
well,
little
not
bit.
really. He just released his second statement, which was
Uh,
nothing but zealous self-promotion. But
okay, well, it doesn't like it didn't reach the
uh,
Facebook top of Facebook and Twitter,
I
so
see, I
I
see.
don't I
Yeah,
don't think it's like I feel like the world has stopped is not
it
paying
was it
attention.
was on
Just
it
don't.
was on the top of Reddit, but yeah,
Well, oh, okay, well, that's half the internet.
yeah.
The other half
Ha-
is Facebook and
half.
Twitter.
So he got a full internet the first time around, and
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 then the
half an
half
internet.
second.
Okay,
That's a good day
it's a
in
good
my
amount.
opinion.
It's a good amount. Yeah,
That's really
absolutely.
good.
Okay, it was good enough for Twitch to fly him out to the U.S. to have a talk about what happened.
Are you
Wow.
fucking serious?
Yep,
Okay.
100% serious. I shit you
I
not.
really
They
okay.
brought
Let's
him
not.
in to get started talks on a casters union to protect casters
Jesus!
from being
What the?
maliciously assaulted
Oh my
by
god.
by dictator pompous CEOs like Fat G or Gaben.
Okay. Well, this actually goes into the
Please.
topic we're going to discuss, but I didn't realize it had gone to this.
Oh, the rabbit
So,
hole. You
oh
never know.
Jesus! I just I stepped into someone put a blanket over the puddle, and I stepped on
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So, all right. So the original topic was amateur talent discovery because this
Mm.
thing really spun in how the systems of how we discover talent are broken, which leads into talent as a whole. But originally, like I was gonna, like it was just, we were discussing is that currently how talent is discovered, and this article particularly references Dota 2 or the Dota 2 system, but it really applies to most games that have key casting studios. Is um, it mirrors very similar to the Korean system for pro players, where the top echelon make good money, and then everybody else B and C make nothing or next to nothing. Uh, but you have to work your way into the system. You got to pull your chops. You gotta do your dues of
Yep.
working on pennies, and then maybe you get to cast the B stream of the international, or you maybe get a like 50 minute segment on Nanyang, or get a little bit of discovery. And if the world loves you, you get blown up.
We
So
actually
this
have a couple of really good examples of that in the Dota scene that I'll bring up later when we get to.
okay. So
But
the crux of the discussion is, and I guess where this talent union, which was briefly referenced, is that a talent union would ensure that the talent is either compensated for their 100 hours of casting Dota, or they will also receive fair treatment even as an amateur caster, financially or
What
otherwise.
what's important to note is that a caster union more than likely would also ensure that nobody gets overpaid for their services.
I don't even know if that's true. What do you mean?
Absolutely, because that's how unions work. Everybody gets paid, you know, like whether it's even if it's tiered, right? Like, and you're on the highest tier, it's still a union, and you're getting paid what the union has agreed to. So
So
you're no longer like setting your own like rates and standards, and it's they're gonna the point is to standardize payment and treatment and all that kind of stuff. That would be the point of a union.
you know what? I actually have to make sure I keep an eye on the any key hashtag. We have some people got a lot chirping all over it too. Whew. Gotta make sure keep an eye on that. Too bad we just left that topic, but I have to say, like, I know this is the future, but I don't like it. That
Unions are not the future. I'm
you
just
don't
gonna
think
put that
so?
out there. Nope.
Unions are gonna happen. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
there's
Nope.
not. I don't think right now currently the organizers have the second most power, next to the developers, and the
In terms of
unions
what?
give that power to the casting talent and the players. Uh, and this happens in movies. This happens in all types of entertainment. There's union. We've seen it time and time again, where unions pop up, and then they protect. Like, you can't even go do any production like in a regular movie or anything without a union. Like, you can't put together a convention without a union. Like, unions are everywhere. As an organizer, I personally don't like unions because they obviously, I'm biased though with that regard. It just makes everything much more complicated and much more expensive. So
It also
you know,
makes it predictable and accountable though. So even if it's like $3,000 instead of $1,000, it's not going to be a random $6,000 because you didn't know what was coming.
but there's the $6,000. There's some union fees and like negotiations, and you know what? I want to be careful because I don't want to turn this into an anti-union discussion, but like, unions create complacency, and that's my biggest qualm about unions. Like, you're just like, I got in a union. You're like, I just gotta coast my way to the top, and someone will take care of me. Um, and I
Uh,
hate. I think the system
I don't think
currently.
so.
You
I would disagree with that, but okay.
don't think? Okay.
No,
Okay.
I
Well,
mean you're still gonna hire which talent you
I'm
want
just
from the
gonna
union.
take
It's not like
these
you go to the casters union. You're like, I need 2 casters, and they'll be like, sure, you'll take who we give you. It,
you,
you still get to the top by your own merits. I mean, just the only thing is you like when you go to hire them, you're like they're gonna say I can't accept any less than this. I'm a part of a union, and I lose my union membership card and my union rights or
union
privileges
membership
if
card.
I if I accept something else, but I also can't accept more than this.
Okay. Um, I, I don't know. I When it comes to the system, currently, let's do a quick overview of the system of amateur talent in esports, talent specifically. All right. So we have our let's use Dota because that's an easy reference for all of us to, except for you, um, to really reference. But and I meant you, Josh, because I don't think you know very much about the Dota layout. But to give everyone a broad overview, there are several studios, right?
Yep.
And would you say three major studios now?
No, I would say there
In
are.
Let's use North America because there's
Oh,
probably
in North
let's
America,
North
in North
America because
America, there's
that's
no major studios. There's
oh.
there's beyond the summit, but like, I don't know why you would call them North American. They're physically located in North America. Most of what they do is outside of North America.
I'm using physical location as a basis to
Okay,
which
sure,
to
physical location. There's one major studio in North America.
okay. So you know here's the thing when I think of that currently is that what the current situation is, they do their casting. They have a whole bunch of casts. They have a lot of different content that comes their way, and they usually rotate new talent on content they themselves either deem not that high up there on the rung or too much overflow, and they give other casters opportunity to cast, and people are discovered that way. Am I correct on that, Tamir? Is that more or less?
There's only one part that needs to be corrected in there, is that they put new talent on contracts that pay less. That's strictly speaking what it is. They pay any new caster that they rotate in, whether it's the Lyrical Gangster or anybody, whatever new face they put on. First of all, they're paid. They're one of the only studios that pays absolutely everybody that they work with. And second of all, they put those people on contracts that pay less.
Okay, so there's the opportunity, but they probably have to do a lot more work hours, right? In terms of probably like 100 hours worth of casting for a lot less. Like not the less is relative to the amount of work in comparison. Like BTS might cast 12 hours, but the amount they get is just, you know, much more than maybe their B team or C team who may have to cast 100 hours and barely come to a quarter or half of what they get.
Yes. That would be the definition of being paid less.
But proportionately. Like it's not. I mean, like it's not like you only do 10 hours for 10%.
I don't know how proportionate it is. I don't know if they get paid 10% or if they get paid 25% or if they get paid 50%. I don't know how proportionate the payment structure for BTS is.
Someone has says that they pay per game casted, which is interesting. Slave Dota pay per game casted.
Yep. So and I firmly, from what I understand, they used to pay $25 a game.
$25 per game.
Yeah.
Like like actual physical game casted, or is that like hour? So if a game lasts 3 hours or whatever, it doesn't matter. That's still flat $25.
You're casting a game. You're not right. And
right.
By the same token, it lasts 14 minutes and.
No, okay, no, that's that makes sense.
Yep.
The God of Luck brings up that unions require players to pay dues, and how are they going to get random lowly esports players and casters to pay? So I actually didn't really think about that. I realized that you actually have to put money in it. As a union. You have to pay is a membership fee.
Depends on the union, yeah.
Like okay, so
but it's not an uncommon thing. No, it's very common that they'd have to pay dues. That's any like respectable union has to operate because it's not like the union gets the money that you're being paid. And they have operating costs obviously as a union, legal and administrative.
I think
costs.
that's going to be the kicker when people are like crying, like, union me, please. And then suddenly you have these casters and players that suddenly have to, you know what? It's like give me a bit of that sweet prize money that you've been getting.
Even teachers have to pay union fees. I mean, it's
unions are such a weird thing for me because I've never been in them. So obviously I'll be a bit ignorant. But let's really bring it back to the crux, which is the system of which talent is discovered currently, right? Currently, the talent is discovered. Is it broken? Straight up, is the way we discover talent broken? On a you gotta do 100 to 200 hours to.
I'll let Josh answer first so that I can disagree with him after.
Oh, but I think Josh is.
Sorry, what's the question? I'm back.
Oh, okay. I got ripped by the
Sorry, I heard the whole discussion. Anyways.
I was going to say, is the system currently, like the current talent discovery system of amateur casters, broken? Do we create a barrier of which amateur casters do not get opportunities to get?
No.
Okay.
Number one, how many freaking casters do we need in this world? There's way too many people. Anyone with a microphone and a webcam nowadays is a caster, right? So.
Well, is that the same thing with a player? Anybody like?
No, if a player, like the best player, will win a tournament and fizzle to the top. The same thing with a caster. If people like you, like you're insightful, or you offer something that other casters aren't offering, people will discover you, people will find you, and you'll make it to the top. It's the same with anyone anywhere in this entertainment industry. If you're good, you will get to where you deserve to be.
So that answers the question. Just before you continue any further, because basically what he's asking is, do we reward people their just deserve, or are there lots of people who are really talented out there and they just can't make it, even though they have all of the talent and all of the drive to do so, but they can't seem to break through for some reason? That would be is the system broken? And
people would say StarCraft would be like that. People would say StarCraft was heavily like that, especially at its peak.
Okay, so there's a lot of independent organizers here, right? Like we're not if we're talking about Riot, then sure, right? But if we're talking about any other game, there's lots of different organizations that are running tournaments, right? So you might not be able to play for the majors, but you might be able to play the step down or cast for the step down or even the step below that, right? And you kind of work your way up until you're established and have your name known. People are always looking for casters if you're good, right? And
I
there's just an influx of these people who like want to be casters just because they own the equipment, but like don't actually offer anything to the game.
I think Nagano Luck puts it really pretty succinctly. He's like, talent discovery doesn't change. Players win tournaments because honestly, if you're a talent, that's how. Like, if you're a player, that's how you get discovered. Like, you got to win, right? You gain
Yeah.
exposure, be seen, and win, and then that's all it comes down to. And frankly,
Yep.
I might have to agree.
We don't
that
have
might-
any caster tournaments though.
Well, you
We
cast
don't.
a tournament, and if you're good, like
How are you gonna cast a
get
tournament?
discovered.
Somebody has to
Someone has to
take a
pick you.
gamble on
Someone
you.
has to pick
Somebody
you. Someone
has
has to take a gamble on you.
Yeah. Somebody has to go out and say, you know what? I'm not gonna hire the people that I know are good. I'm gonna give you the chance.
Well, there's
Isn't
people
that-
who just
isn't that a
who
bit of
can't fork
nepotism,
out, who can't fork out for the higher people. So you have VODs that you've casted on your own. You show like you got to build a portfolio. People aren't just gonna give you shit for free in this world, right? So like, if you have something to show and you say like, look, this is how I cast, this is how I do it, or like you sit in with the organizer and say like, this is what I'm
Okay,
gonna do.
but that's no different
right?
than
No,
that's no
but that
different than
doesn't
any
answer the
artist
question.
or like
Yeah.
or talent going out there being like, you know what, I got a
So
mixtape. Listen to it.
yeah, the question isn't can you produce. We know that there's lots of people that can and can't produce. The question is the system of discovering and giving people who can produce a chance broken? That is the question. Like,
No, I still don't think it is.
yes, okay, so well, there you go.
Yeah.
So I would say actually that it is broken, but I don't think that it needs to change very much. Like, I don't think that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I reference other or industries that have the same issues to face. Where whether if you want to even if you want to broadcast football, like you want to shoutcast football, you want to be on the panel, you want to be on the desk. How are you going to get on there? It's not like somebody's just going to take a random opportunity. You know, you start out your football college leagues, and you try and work your way up into, and you put in the hard work and the dedication, and hopefully you get there, right?
I think Doug put a really interesting spin on that earlier when he said to me that it's esports is. I don't know. I don't know if this is true, but esports is this weird, unique where you have people who specifically come out. They want to be a caster. In traditional sports, as I understand it, the two avenues to becoming a caster is you're either in journalism and you cover sports like regularly in your newspaper or whatever, and then you move up to being a caster, or you're a player, or I mean you're like a player and you retire and become a caster.
There's people who start out their career as a sportscaster.
What?
There's
Really?
Yep. Oh yeah. Well,
people
who do
go
you
to
think
school for that
casts
stuff and they
college?
train for it.
Who do you think casts college football games and local events? And absolutely, no. There's people who start out their career as casters in traditional sports.
So in traditional sports, someone can be like, I want to be a broadcaster. That's my passion, right?
Yep. Absolutely. I want to be an analyst. I want to be a shoutcaster. I want to be absolutely. And I would say that the only thing that esports is missing, because the model for traditional sports works. Don't get me wrong. It's just as difficult to be discovered in traditional sports as a caster and to really make it to like the big desk, like the ESPN desk, like whether it's the Super Bowl or what have you. It is difficult to get there. But I don't think that their system is broken, and that's because they have more opportunities along the way for people to get there. High school, college, universities, like A League, B League, C League, Double A, Triple A. It's a more developed industry, and that's what esports is missing for our talent discovery system to not be as broken, I'd say.
See, I kind of want to disagree because like I'm at a university right now and I see our games go on. We don't have casters for anything, right? Like I've never once have I seen a caster sit in the stadium, right? No, but I'm saying like there's way more
your
tournaments.
University doesn't.
No, listen. I'm saying in general there isn't. No, American sports might be totally different, but I'm talking
Very
Canada here.
different.
But okay, but
Very
turn
different.
on Twitch any hour of the day, guarantee you'll find a tournament for your favorite game going on this second. Right? There's way more tournaments. There's way more opportunities.
No, there's not.
What? Wait, what? Did you say
No,
there are
yeah,
more opportunities?
Absolutely.
Okay, wait. All
right.
And if there
Let's
isn't,
get
then
to
like
the
hop
opportunity.
on and cast the game.
What?
Okay.
Like there's ways to like
Look,
like
you don't just walk
develop
down
yourself.
to your local stadium to like a park, right? People are playing some flag football, and you're like, "Hey guys,
That's what you're making
mind
it
if I
seem like.
cast this game?"
That's what you're making
No.
it seem like.
I'm not making it seem like
Oh,
that.
Timbit soccer going on. Hey, Tim Hortons, mind if I cast this house
What?
league soccer over here? That's what I'm gathering from you.
No, No,
Wait,
no.
what?
Actually, there's a really good book on this topic that was recommended to me by Whiplash by Justin. It's called The Art of Sports Broadcasting, and it's very, very informative on this topic about how casters get picked up, how they develop, how to develop yourself as a caster, all those kind of things. And that would be if anybody watching is actually really interested in how casters get found and what it takes to become a top caster, go read that book. But
Man, you know what? And
I'm not talking about Timbits League. I'm talking about like collegiate football is big in the States, and any caster that is in a stadium right now casting football anywhere in the States, I guarantee you,
Started there?
bet my entire purse, if they didn't start before there, they started there, at least there.
Oh, isn't that where the college players generally start though? In collegiate, isn't that
Yeah.
like
And
everyone starts in collegiate, isn't it? That you go there.
we don't have no some most of them start before that. No, most of them start before that. Most athletes, professional athletes, start like some of them before high school. If not, high school is actually like the most common place.
Jesus, I know so
Most
little
common
about real
place for them to
sports.
start.
Whew.
And
All I have is all I remember is remember the Titans. That's my sports
like
knowledge and
most of them
background.
start playing if they're hockey, football, soccer, baseball. They all start like high school. Like 12 to 16 is the most common age for kids to get competitive about their sport if they want to make it pro. By the time
Oh,
they're
so it's
like
like
20.
Pro StarCraft in Korea.
Yeah,
Get them when they're in the womb. Grab them when
So-
they're in the womb.
And as far as starting out casting, trust me, it's just as well, maybe not just as early, but like very close. Collegiate sports, and there's a lot of collegiate sports, a lot more than there are esports tournament. Despite what
Okay,
you might
okay.
believe, Josh.
So
Uh,
I'm gonna. You think so? Whoa, wait, what?
there's a lot more collegiate sports than there's esports tournaments. Make no
Okay.
mistake. If you think that that's not true, then you're
I'm good.
grossly mistaken.
I would like to debate that, but I try to make this, I think, without any data. And last time that happened, I was grossly underestimating the amount of people who watch stuff on Twitch on their phone. But I feel personally and qualitatively enough that I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I have nothing to back that up. I'm just throwing that basis on the basis of nothing.
Yeah, I want to see
Uh,
stats on this. I agree with you, Draken.
Consider
I
that
don't know.
if you don't think that there's more sports, consider that the university that I went to had over 12 sports teams that traveled all across North America and sometimes overseas to participate in sports tournaments. That's just like the shitty university
Is
that I
that
went
one
to.
tournament? That's a league.
One
That's
of
a league. That's
three-
But that's
considered
one tournament, right?
It's
Like if you
considered
play
one,
20 games
yes.
in a semester, like that's still one tournament.
No,
That's what
I'm talking about all-female tournament, like double A, triple A, multiple different leagues, multiple teams per game. Like we had more than one soccer team, multiple volleyball teams.
Okay,
like,
okay.
you guys are
I'm gonna
crazy.
this is
Like-
I admit I'm a bit ignorant on this, so I'm gonna just try to pull us away because this is a topic I know very little about. But a really interesting point came up on Twitter, and I want to see the thoughts on this panel's on it. Is that if a commentator can't win, and this has been debated a lot in StarCraft and everything, if a commentator is not any good, why should someone listen to them? Like when I say good, as in not good commentating, but good as a good player.
Well, it's the same reason that we have coaches that aren't good at their game. It's not.
Well, it
So-
depends. It depends what you're looking for, right? Like, it depends what they offer to the table. Then, if they're not good, if they don't have good game knowledge, then what are they offering you?
Well,
What are they marketing?
well, isn't it is
Are
I
they
think
entertaining?
the dimension of which Nagana specifically was talking about is the correlation is if you're a good player, you should then equate to being a good commentator, and I guess that's what sports does too, is that you have
That's
a
not
level
true.
of skill, that you an understanding of the game, you understand the game to a certain level and depth, then you should become a good commentator.
Okay.
I think that particularly applies to color commentary. I don't think that necessarily applies to play-by-play, but I wanted to throw his comment out there and just see the overall reaction and thoughts before we.
So let me just I always love just hard like working from what we know, and I can say for a fact that Toby is the most successful caster in Dota, bar none. Nobody's cast more grand finals, more events, had a more successful or decorated casting career in Dota than Toby won. I don't think anybody wants to dispute that.
Now, is he the most successful, the most
Most
popular?
successful. Well,
Like,
is that not the same thing when you're a caster?
is that the same thing? Are we talking about popular versus like?
Absolutely. We're
In this
talking
case,
about
yes.
we're
Okay,
talking
okay.
about how many events have you cast, and he would win hands down, and you talk about the popularity vote, and he'd win hands down.
Okay.
So in this case, to me, they're the same thing. He is by far the most successful caster in Dota, um, and
Okay.
I won't I won't no shaming on stream. He's between 4 and 5K in Dota, which is not
Which
very high.
translates to okay.
Not very high. Like people right now are racing for 9K.
Mm.
Like pro players are racing for 9K. So it's not that high. 4K is pretty low, all things considered. But still the most successful caster in Dota. Why? Because he has great understanding of the game. And when I say great, I don't mean he has exceptional. He doesn't have professional level understanding of the game, but you don't need it. You're a caster, you're not a player. What you need is to know what you're
Oof.
talking about, and then you need
Okay.
to be a good entertainer beyond that. Now, keep in mind, he is play-by-play. He's not an analyst, in which case I'll reference analysis casters, which I'd say some of the most successful, I could give multiple examples, most successful analysis casters being like Merlini from Beyond the Summit, Winter from Southeast Asia region, cast multiple studios. There's a whole bunch of them. Most of them have had some professional competitive experience, never any breakthrough, like they've never won any major tournaments or anything, but they've played on teams and dabbled.
I'm willing to say that in that regard, even in StarCraft, even the best casters weren't the best of the game. I think it was disputed many a times that our top casters, aside from maybe Nathanius, Nathanius is probably the only caster, and that isn't actually in GM. Is Roddy in GM? I don't know. Is Roddy in GM anymore?
Yeah, he floats around.
So, like
But
Nathanius consistently keeps himself in GM. Oh, Apollo. Okay,
but they
no,
make
Matarsis is not in GM.
they make great entertainers, and that's
Yeah.
why they're hired as casters. That's why I mean, it's a bit of the old adage, if you can't compete, teach. But I would say the same thing applies to coaches, right? Like, I don't know any coaches in Dota that are winning at the international or winning majors, but I know that all of them have been around the game for pretty much forever, and even though they don't have what it takes to be a championship player.
Statement comes to counter is that Toby One was also one of the first casters. So,
Sure.
he was grandfathered in rather than necessarily have any particular, like, he didn't climb from the bottom to the top kind of thing. He was
But
just on the top.
I don't see how that's a counter statement. I'd say if
Fair
anything,
enough.
he's been around forever because he's good.
Okay. Okay.
He-
Well,
he-
let's
he's been
let's
able to stick. Like, I know plenty of casters that have come and gone because they weren't very good. They had their chance to shine and they didn't make the cut.
Okay, so
Like,
let's make it to the succinctness before we go into our discussionable or debatable topic. Is the system broken? Do we feel that? Bear, do you feel it? I think you
Nope.
answered already.
I still
Nope.
don't.
said
But yeah. All right.
I think the solution at the end of the day is caster idle. That's the only way. Really, it is we need to have like a little caster idle that you got to show up on, and you got to cast the game, and then powered
casters
by
got talent. A little
Caster Got Talent. Like, listen, it sounds crazy, but
a little caster shore maybe.
yay!
Survivor
Listen,
with casters. You got to cast Words with Friends. That's the challenge of the week. You
Listen,
can do it successfully.
that might be the option. All right, before let's go into our debatable because this is the one I really been like I've been itching in my seat to get into because this is the conversation piece that got my jimmies a little bit rustled this morning. I read an article this morning basically suggesting or stating that esports was killing gaming, PC gaming specifically, but this obviously applies to all gaming because esports isn't regionalized.
Because you
into
can't
one
attack
genre.
PC gaming without attacking all gaming.
Exactly, like it doesn't make sense. But the article specifically references PC gaming. It's like our PC gaming is under attack by esports, and I I have to really drill down the point that was brought down is that a lot of people who are designing games, a lot of developers, while chasing the esports dream or chasing the dream of esports in their respective games, are losing the idea of making their games fun. They're designing it to be competitive. Street Fighter, Street Fighter 5 was brought up because people feel like the content was released half-heartedly in an effort to make sure that the game was represented by the fighting like competitive community first and foremost before its casual base. And this person felt, I'm going to say he felt salty, right? He felt a bit salty that his game came at the expense of the competitive players. And the article goes on to some other games like, I can't remember. She goes on to about Hearthstone, how
Rainbow
Hearthstone,
Six or
no, it was so
I
Hearthstone
could
is reference.
I'm thinking of my own examples. I did not necessarily from the examples
Evolve.
given. I'm just saying like I can think of plenty of games that are now being designed with esports in mind, whereas they weren't before, and how that could affect the game.
Okay, so that's a really good point. Rainbow Six, I would have to say, is Siege. Definitely is.
Yep.
You know, the Ubisoft got a little bit of esports in their teeth, and they're like, whew, how
We could try this.
like, okay, and I want to be clear that this is their like third title that they tried to make esports. I want to make that clear, and it hasn't caught on. Well, maybe Siege will catch on. I don't know, but this is not the first time they made a title that they tried to make esports.
I'm gonna go out on a
Um,
limb and say no.
So who knows who knows what's going to happen with this? But the overall discussion is: do we feel, as a group, if is esports impacting and hurting the casual players? Right now,
Oh
is
yeah.
their ideas of fun being diminished by? I'm gonna say it.
E-
Oh.
I'm a competitive player.
Even if it isn't, I hope it is.
I know you said it with so much malicious in your voice, saying, "You're salty, salty
I
tears."
love I can't I can't get enough of those like I honestly like I'm just gonna come right out. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of pretending it's not the case. I hate casual competitives. I can't stand it.
Tell it, brother. Tell me about how much you hate the casuals.
Look, do it's not casual. It's fine if you're a casual. Just stop trying to be competitive. Like you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna play and you don't care if you win or lose, that's fine. All I need to do is stay away then. But like
like a virus.
but like if you queue up for a match of Dota with me and you're like, yeah, you know what, I would just do whatever. Like I don't care. I can get on board. Honestly, I'd be like, all right, that's fine. I'll just random a hero, spend an hour just having fun. We'll have some laps. Who cares if we win or lose? But if we go in and we're a team and we're trying to win, and halfway through you're just like, yeah, whatever. I'm casual about this shit anyway. I get pissed. I get annoyed. Honestly, it's like why am I fucking trying then? Like why what I spend my last like 45 minutes busting my hump to carry you, and then you don't even give a fuck. Like it pisses me off. It does. So when it comes to articles like this, when somebody's like, "Oh, esports is hurting my game," it's like, go play Smash. Nintendo only wants casuals. Go play casual games.
So okay, so but even then though, Smash
I'm
is,
sure
is,
that
is-
that
Smash
yeah.
is no different. Like they have a group of people who, and this came up, because in Smash, the game Smash Brothers is created with items and a breadth of stages and stuff like that, and the competitive community is like, fuck all that items, fuck
Yep.
those stages. We want 4 of these stages and no items
So
and 2 characters.
okay,
You know,
so this is what I hoped we would touch on. Even a game that is designed by the developer to not be an esport, because the developer doesn't want it. They just want a casual game. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, what matters is what the people want, what the people using it want. And this is like the first time that I've heard this opinion from anybody. This is the first time that I've heard a casual be like, all you competitive people are ruining my games. Like, it's absurd to me. Like you have an example. Yeah, I brought up Smash because it's a clear example of a game where even though it was meant for casuals, the people who played it were like, no, we're not going to be casual about this. We're going to take this quite seriously, and we'll even mod it if we need to.
okay,
to-
but let's be a little bit honest here. Is that most games require a casual base to stay alive? Like
That's true.
like they're okay, and it's the common rule, and this may have changed over the years. I haven't decided to take a look at any numbers, but most games have a casual base of people that keep the game fresh, that keep, they buy the
keep the
DLC.
game fresh. You mean
Okay,
they
sorry,
keep the game alive?
They keep the game alive. They buy the
Yeah.
DLC. They do all that stuff that keep the game, up. And then the upper echelon,
Okay,
which
so-
are the competitive players, keep the game moving forward in a competitive
now-
casual game.
Now we're getting to the part where I really think that this whole article and argument is bogus. You take a game like Dota, which is a really easy example of a game that doesn't cater to casuals whatsoever. Like
You don't think
not
there's
in
casual
this.
players in Dota?
Oh, I didn't say that there aren't casual games.
Okay, my
That there aren't
apologies.
gamers. I said that it doesn't cater to casual gamers. Like the buy-in for that game, there's nothing casual about it. Like you can't. They have casual modes. They'll give you overthrow and custom maps, and you can do all that kind of stuff. But the game itself doesn't cater to casuals. So what I'm saying is you don't need producers to like remove esports from the game for it to cater for it to like be available to casuals. Like League of Legends is a great example. For example, people who play it competitively, pros, they're very serious about the game, right? They don't take any part of it casually, and yet there's millions of people that play it casually.
And that's why it's #1 right now.
So
You need that casual foundation to kind of support your game and like help
yeah, to
market
support the
it
publisher,
almost.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm saying there's nothing wrong with that, but there is something wrong with saying that competitiveness is killing games. If anything, we have more gamers now than ever. How are you
Yeah.
what? I'm so confused. Like
Your game.
I
So
don't
your game
see.
actually, Josh, is referenced here as
What
being
my game?
Yeah,
is
Hearthstone,
referenced
your
as
game.
the is referenced as the pinnacle of the best casual experience where you can just you can just kind of do whatever. You can just
Oh,
do
that's
whatever,
it. I'm
and
uninstalling it right now.
you
I mean,
just do
first
it.
off, where is this article published? Because I actually strongly disagree with everything. But
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't get this article. Like I don't whatever this person is trying to say. They have like almost no
Heck,
basis.
Radar,
So
this is a
like
real website. How did this get published?
it's a casual website. What do you mean?
What? Like,
They're
what the
pushing the
fuck?
casual agenda.
Okay,
Oh my god.
so they reference Hearthstone and TF2 as the ultimate like casual competitive experience. By the way, I want to say this should never be a thing. Casual competitive. I agree with you, Tamir, that casual competitive is a thing that we should nip in the bud. You're either casual or you're competitive. Like this casual
Yeah.
competitive thing. Anyways, casual
There's
competitive,
no in
as
between.
I've understood by your definition, is a player who plays for fun but still wants to win. Right? They play for like, they don't really try very
No,
hard.
they don't care about winning. Okay, casual competitive is
No, okay,
no,
okay.
hold on, here, I'll
Casual
paint you a
competitive
casual situation.
players, casual
Go,
Don't
go and
players do care about winning, but they expect that they won't win all the time, but they want a little bit of winning to come naturally and easy to them.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case. The only time I would
Okay.
consider myself casual competitive is like, let's say I've drank a little too much, and then I call my friends and say, hey, let's play some Counter Strike. At that point, I really don't care if I win or lose because you know what? I'm not playing in my optimum. But if you sit me down in front of StarCraft and I'm on ladder right now, I'm gonna try my fucking ass off to win that game, right? Like
Okay.
I will not sacrifice that.
Tell me about your
Casual.
Hearthstone. You
that's
come home late at night, and you're a little bit tired, but you're
My
not tired.
my
How,
experience with Hearthstone was I'm playing this to win. I'm playing this because I want to be the highest rank I could possibly achieve, and that's it. Right? You don't play Hearthstone like, I don't care if I lose right here. No, no, no.
oh
Like,
no, I
yeah,
bet there's a lot of people who play
no,
Hearthstone like that. Don't.
yeah, no, there
there
is.
are.
There,
That's why they made it available on phones.
yeah.
That accessibility. Okay, but let's bring it back to the crux. So they said, the two games I was referenced was TF2, and the competitive aspect of it was, sucking a little bit of what made the game
What
so good.
competitive aspect? There's a competitive aspect to TF2.
There is.
Well, it was casual, but now things are starting to seep its way in, right? Everyone like Overwatch is coming, so TF2 is starting to feel that nip that it needs to be a little bit more competitive, right? And the author is concerned or complaining that this aspect, this rush for an esport, is killing the just for fun. Let's use quotations, just for fun aspect of video games that we just sit
Go
back,
play
kick.
Candy Crush or something.
Yeah.
Like
Well, that's the thing. Like, is it that the game is built with a competitive aspect, and the fun pack, the fun aspect of is that competitive aspect? I'm gonna use Dota as an example because you said it. As you said it, it is. It's a game not really catered to casual players. It's catered to competitive players. I would imagine. Like I believe so. It's skill seasons
the
very
core
hard.
game is very much catered to people who are competitive. That's the case. They offer casual outlets because it's a game. At the end of the day, like you said, you need that wide player base for people to try it out first, to get hooked, and then decide whether or not they want to devote themselves to being competitive at it. So I'm not saying remove all like casual aspects from games. Like I personally enjoy
Okay,
like I
I'm
personally
willing to
enjoy a
say
lot of the
that Street Fighter Five is transitioning into the same thing. I would like to Street Fighter
yeah.
because
And why
I'm
not?
willing to say that that's what it is. And I'm going to make that this bold statement is that they said to themselves, we want to focus on our competitive players. This is why we're releasing the game without a
It's
story mode, without a
yeah.
thing, because our
Story
competitive
mode.
players.
What?
Well, that's what the internet was up in arms about in the last couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever, is that there was no story mode, there's
And
no arcade mode, right?
they're always up in
Um,
arms if something changes, though. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
yes. Okay, but the internet made a big stink about it, and maybe that's a loud minority. I don't know.
yeah.
Is it the loud minority? Is it just the
Yes.
majority? Like,
No.
I don't
The
know.
Just go
loud
play the
minority.
next game. Like that's it. This game isn't for you anymore. Move on.
No, it
Well,
still is. That's the thing, though. It's like what confuses me about all of this is that like take every game or sport that's risen to become competitive, and at some point, yeah, it was like people play it casually, whether you're just playing ball in the yard with your friends or you're on an actual field, like competing for your paycheck. Like it's
and
the
Nagata
two
Lock
aren't mutually exclusive in a game. That's why I'm so confused. Like
Well, Nagata Lock says that Nagata Lock said that Street Fighter V released early for the Capcom Pro Tour, and to me, that means our competitive players are a priority to us.
yeah,
And then that was it. Like you have to make that call. You either say I'm gonna release this game when it has story mode for the people or whatever, or you're gonna say I am going to we have a competitive player base. They're important to us, so we're releasing our game. I still think it is a transition into a competitive aspect because we're
I
seeing
think
now
it's
a
an
more.
addition.
I
What
think
do you
I
mean?
think our games are gonna have to separate a bit.
What do you mean by that?
I don't think so.
Well,
do you-
I
okay, like no, there's gonna be casual aspects, right? Like any of these games have to have some way for casuals, like Tamir said,
Do
to
they?
like kind of just try it out. Yeah, no, they have to.
Oh, okay.
It's a
like
necessity. But
take
I
take
don't
Rocket
think
League.
that.
Rocket League's
Like, I
an
don't-
example. Like
Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
sorry, Rob. No, go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
No, go.
So I was just like we still see games that come out that are competitive that aren't like all about esports. Like take Rocket League for example. You just boot it up, jump into a game, have some fun with friends. It's all about the fun. Nobody's trying to, there's no like Rocket League agenda like the World Rocket League series, like $100,000 prize pool.
I
Like
think they
some
tried that
people,
on MLG for a bit and they fizzled and they went back to what they were doing.
MLG might have tried it, but I'm saying the publisher didn't try
Oh.
it. It was never the publisher's intention for this to be like, some resounding new esport that everybody's gonna, you know, not to say that there aren't Rocket League competitions and tournaments. There are absolutely, but it's not a publisher-driven agenda like this person's complaining about. Because basically, what this person is saying is like, esports is like forcing our publishers into making games that don't cater to me anymore. It's like,
Well,
and-
and that's exactly that's what he's saying. Really, at the end of the day, is he's saying that esports is it's this new shiny ball that his publishers that he love
are being distracted by.
are being distracted by. Right. That's ultimately what he's saying is that it's and in my eyes, or at least I would say, is that listen, your games are lasting longer because of esports. Like your games would have fallen off the shelf, and you wouldn't have heard about it again. And if it wasn't
That's
for
not what
these,
that's not what the casual likes. He wants more campaigns. He wants more DLC. He wants more of all the things. Us competitive players, like we just want the vanilla game, the updates here now and then, balance changes. That's it. But we want to play the same core game over and over and over again until we
Absolutely.
master it. Right?
Absolutely.
Maybe that's his issue. But like this whole like esports has become the trigger word of the last 2 or 3 years, where every developer is like, "Oh, I do esports now. Words with Friends is esports." Like, how the hell did that come into play? So like,
okay, so,
but like they're gonna separate like the people who want to play single player games and those casual experiences, or the game where you can like sit with your buddy on the couch and play whatever zombie mode with, like that will still exist. But it's just like in recent times that every developer wants to have the word esports because they think that's gonna sell 20% more copies of their
oh
game.
my god, it's such a
Let-
freaking
let's-
buzzword.
Let's also be realistic. In recent times, a lot more games have come out than ever before. Like we're releasing more video games annually than ever before. That in mind, I wholeheartedly agree with the fact, like what Josh said. It seems like almost just an imperative at this point. Like it's just a fact that certain games are going to come out and they're not going to be at all esports. They don't even stand, like they're not even going to try.
That happens.
Why-
That happens like all the time. Like there's
Right,
tons
and,
of single player games.
and that's it. Like, and what this guy's complaining about is like, he's like, oh no, but the games that I like are affected by this. It's like,
okay, so let's bring it back to the question in the form of
It's,
a question, and
it's just
and
that
detach it
entitlement of. Sorry, I was just gonna say it's just a odd form of entitlement where it's like, this publisher used to think all about me. Now it's thinking about other people. It's like, it's like, it's like, oh, okay. So, like, you gonna tell them what to do? You're gonna go lobby them? Like, they see a business plan, they see a model, they want to pursue it. Like, sue them.
Okay, let's wrap this around the question itself and detach a little bit from the article so we can wrap it up. But do you think that esports is killing PC gaming? Uh,
How
Yeah,
is this
what
a
the
question? Like, no, I'm not answering that. Neither should you, Josh. Like, there's no way. How is anybody even like?
This is terrible
It's
journalism. Can we trash the
honestly
article for the next 20 minutes?
like
What the
this
fuck?
is how no, it's like not even close. There's more people on PC now than like just on video games period, but on PC as well, like than ever before. Like, and it's not even close. Like, do you see the amount of people that play Dota and CS:GO? Like, have you seen the Steam charts over like the last 5 years? It's crazy. Like, it's not even. This isn't even a question.
Josh, your
No,
feeling?
hey, I'm exactly with Tamir on this one. Like, you don't like it, I'm sorry. Like, you just don't bring in enough money, and you're not allowed enough audience for you
Yeah,
to matter. Like,
that's it.
like
Like,
if you want to play your casual games, go open up Gary's
yeah,
mod and go
that's
float around
it.
the sandbox, and like
Maple
that's
Story, like,
oh
have at
Maple
it.
Story, woohoo!
Like, have at it,
Uh,
dude. Just go
yeah,
for it. Like, there's plenty of them exist. What this person is particularly upset about is that, like I said, all of a sudden these publishers' attention is divided, and he's not the only child anymore. And it's like, get over it. Like, this is the future. Like, it's here, and you're just upset about it.
yeah. If you don't like it, don't play competitive games. Like, go find a casual game that appeals to you.
Yeah.
Go play the Hearthstone. Apparently, it's Captain Casual.
Okay.
Your
Well,
thoughts? I want to hear what you have to
that's pretty much a slam dunk there. Not
say.
really
What do
much.
you have to say?
What if it's?
Yeah, no. What are your thoughts on this?
Dare you disagree?
You made us talk about it. I don't want to hear your thoughts.
You know, you know what? My only thing is that I don't want to even touch is the casual competitive aspect, and that's I don't think it's killing esports. I do think it's giving rise to like a hump, like a small tumor, which I will call the casual competitive players, who who want the competitive aspect of it, but they don't want to work for it. So in that case, yes, I think
Okay.
it's killing esports. I think casual gaming is killing esports. If that's the reverse
Okay.
thing.
So the whole thing, like the casual competitive phenomenon, is basically it comes down to this: it's people who don't want to feel like they're average. They want to feel like they're better than average, but they don't want to put in the time or the effort that it takes to be better than average. Recently, YASP, which is a Dota statistics website, released the like spread of MMR, which basically just tells you who's above average and who's not in Dota. And they said at 87.7% of people are below 4K in Dota. So if you're a 4K player, you're better than, or sorry, I should say 87.7% are 3,700 MMR in Dota, which basically translates to if you're 4K or above, you're better than 90% of the population. It is like, and if you're a 4K player, you know just how crappy Dota below 5K is. If you think about it, like there's a large amount of people in Dota that are like competitive casuals. There is a huge amount of people that are like, I'm gonna play this game. I'm so good. Like I know everything there is to know. I play like 2 games a week, but like I can tell everybody on my team what they need to do and how to be better. And like,
Well, I
and
think
those people are like they're not even in the 90th percentile of the game. So basically, what I'm saying is like there's an ocean of people playing this game who are very much casual and have like and it's like they are like the embodiment of the person who wants to think that they're like so good and they can tell everybody like what shit to do and how to play and how to be a pro practically, uh, even though they have no idea what they're talking about because they don't put in the time or the effort to research. They just want to feel like they're good at what they put their like minimal amount of effort into.
okay. Well, that might be even when you put it that way, they almost sound required a little bit to be able to even have um like just like casual players, they make up a base. They make up a base of
They're
actual
they're
people
they're
who.
a requirement. Like
It's
a lot of
it's
people
it's a
say that's what
yeah.
happened. That's how StarCraft died, right? It's because It was pure like the mechanics were just too much for a casual to pick up, and like you had to devote a lot of time. People didn't want to devote the time to learning build orders and learning all the hotkeys, and they just kind of fell off because
Well,
there's
You
no
know
way
what?
for
Like,
casuals to get into
and I
it.
guess somebody would say that's that in an argument against what we're saying, they would use StarCraft as an example of a game that is fully competitive and not
hey,
very
it's got
casual.
story mode.
All right,
It's
you're right.
now
It
trying to
does
get
have-
the
it does have
casuals, but
story
it's
mode.
kind of too late. But yeah,
Oh,
Uh,
it's had story mode with
it
every
has-
iteration.
it's had the story mode, and the arcade, and whatever that new mode is, that hero mode. I don't know what
I
it's
would
called.
say that
Yeah.
StarCraft
I
is-
think actually Drekken's a really good like person to ask for insight on this. But somebody who's done both. You've done both StarCraft and Dota, and like,
Right.
did StarCraft die because it didn't cater to casuals enough? Is that why? I think it died because it didn't cater to competitors enough.
it's hard to say. Okay, I would say that it didn't cater to social enough. If I was
I
to
thought you were gonna
put
say it didn't die. All right.
no. It declined because it didn't cater to social. Because StarCraft is a very lonely game. Um, and I don't want to turn the segment into full about StarCraft, but I like if you remember, if you think about StarCraft and Warcraft 3, it was actually a chat program wrapped around a video game. So
Yep.
you logged into BattleNet, and first thing you're just roaming and you're chatting and you're building clans and you're doing all sorts of social activities. And then sometimes you'd go and play a video game later with other people. So I would say what if I was to, and we can maybe have an entire segment about this one day. But if I was to say the thing that killed StarCraft is that it forgot about its discussion, and it forgot about being about the social aspect. Because sometimes I would just log into BattleNet and I would just talk for 30 minutes or to an hour to 2 hours, and I wouldn't even play a single game. But I was socializing. It was like IRC, but in a video game. And then StarCraft 2 pretty much diminished that and removed that aspect where it was all right. You log into the game, you just get into the game. That's it. You're like, oh, I'm by myself. I feel by myself, right? They kind of put clans and chat rooms in the back seat, and it was just about an aspect, and the social got left behind. So.
Yep.
That's what would be my prediction, or what I would say killed or diminished StarCraft. If you can call that casual, if that's the casual aspect, then maybe that's it. But maybe I don't know.
That is casual, right? That's not directly related
Isn't
to
it?
me beating you, right? Like that's
Okay.
Well, how much time do you think that Korean pros spend chatting on BattleNet?
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's it, right? They said Koreans don't really care about Battle.net, but North Americans do. I'd imagine. Like I'm gonna guess, like North Americans spent a lot of time sitting in the Battle.net chat rooms, chatting about nonsense, but they still they were stuck into the game of StarCraft. You were
You know
loyal
what?
to StarCraft.
Here's what I'll do. I'm just gonna kill this argument right now, and I'm gonna do it with one fell swoop, and I'm gonna put in a word that we all love, and you'll understand immediately what I'm talking about.
Accessibility?
Cosmetics.
What? Cosmetics weren't what killed StarCraft. Okay, you know what?
No,
Listen,
that's not. I'm not talking
no,
about
no,
what killed StarCraft. I'm talking about the casual base that is required to sustain a competitive game. You keep the casuals entertained and distracted with shiny, cool cosmetics that they spend real money on in order for you to have a wide enough base of people playing the game to allow for new faces to reach the top of the
Okay,
competitive
I would say
scene.
cosmetics are definitely a new iteration. It's a new thing because it's only been around for the last 5 years, for
Roughly, yeah.
example. But StarCraft, as a whole, declined with Wings of Liberty ripping that thing out, in my opinion.
I'm not talking
Because-
about StarCraft in
Oh,
particular.
you're just talking about in general,
I'm
how
talking about
a solution-
cosmetics are a great example of how competitive
Absol-
games cater to casual people in order to maintain themselves.
Okay, I agree. Hands down. All right, so let's wrap up the show. I got to make some chicken wings and not die. Let's do a wrap up of the topics of the night. Sorry, I was reading the chat and seeing if anything of merit popped up in there. Not a good. You know what I want to say? I know a lot of you guys out there have been chatting on both the chat and Twitter. But I think we should maybe find a way to maybe use our Discord to get people to join in some of the conversation. Maybe if we can
Oh,
make it.
just keep it wherever it comes. It comes.
No, I'd like to.
You,
I'd
you
like to.
can't
I
tell
would take
people where to
guests.
go.
We can
No,
get
no, he's saying to bring
get-
them in to talk. As
Oh,
in,
bring them
so
in to
they
talk,
get-
yeah.
like a guest, a
Yeah.
guest.
Yeah.
You come into Discord.
Jesus.
Oh, I thought he was gonna tell him like, "Hey, comment on Discord, chat with us
Man,
on
No,
Discord."
no,
this-
no.
This
Oh yeah,
naysaying.
sure.
I'm
Oh,
just
sure,
saying
yeah.
that if we can get people to jump on Discord to tell us about have
Give
that
us
conversation.
feedback,
Give
yeah,
us
and
feedback.
interact.
Voice their opinion. I think that's a good thing. Anyways, just had that idea. I think it's feasible, and I'm sure Doug will tell me whether yay or nay later on. And how that works. It seems simple in my mind, but maybe it's more complicated. It's better than getting to call in while we're in Skype.
We have a call.
Maybe. All right. So, final thoughts, Bear, on DraftKings pulling out.
Sorry, I'm still 6 years old. Like it, whatever. It happens, I guess. Like, obviously, someone wasn't profitable there. I don't get. I still can't fundamentally understand why it didn't work. Like, unless that was just kind of they needed the company as a whole was kind of falling, and they said, all right, we're spending too much on esports. This needs to go away. I don't see how the execution could have possibly failed with all these people who are knowledgeable. These people who are like, this is something we took from the sports industry. So these are all the qualified people doing it with, I'm assuming, just people who are knowledgeable about esports, and like, it seems like a match made in heaven. So I don't really get why it failed. It must be some other fundamental flaw with the company, and that's kind of what we're seeing now. I don't think they got pushed out by any means, but that's just my opinion.
Final thoughts on DraftKings pulling out, Tamir?
I from the very beginning there's just so many of these that like race to the top, and I think that it's just a function of not enough to go around, right? It seems to me, at least from the outside, without doing too much research into the fact, that we had like 5 or 6 of these major fantasy betting websites, and I really don't believe that all of them could have existed at the same time.
Okay, my final thoughts on DraftKings pulling out. I think that there is an element which I agree with Tamir, where there may have been a lot of them top heavy, and there's only a few that could survive. But at the same time, I think there's an indicativeness of how the gambling might be going in terms of esports. It was a hot market, and everyone wanted, and their mother wanted an esports gambling website, and everyone came flying in, from all corners of all walks of life to do it, and it may just be it's unsustainable. Who knows? Maybe the market's just not ready for it. Final thoughts, Josh, on amateur talent discovery. Is the system broken?
I'm still gonna stand by. I don't think that it's broken. I think the good people will get discovered. You kind of just got to keep doing what you're doing until you stand out from the rest. And maybe if you don't, maybe you don't want it bad enough. Maybe you don't stand out enough. I think you need to figure out what it is you offer to the table. If you can like sit and look at your cast and say, I'm really good, I'm really knowledgeable about the game. Like, I have a great sense of game knowledge. I'm very personable. I'm charismatic. I think I should be a good caster. Then keep doing it. But if you're not offering anything new to the table, like, you're not going to replace someone else. So, at least that's my opinion.
Final thoughts. Same question. Amateur talent discovery. Tamir, is it broken?
Okay, as a system, like where the top the good will rise to the top. I don't think that it's broken. I do think that it's a bit of a matter of growing pains in esports, where there just isn't enough places for aspiring young talent to showcase themselves, and I think
Okay.
that that's broken.
I always
But
love
I
when
don't
you
think
bring
that the
those kind of
system is
points.
broken.
You always give me a good perspective when you bring those kind of points.
Like as for Dota casters, there's like a lot of amateur Dota leagues, Reddit Dota 2 league. There's even a Reddit just for featuring yourself as an amateur caster, which
there?
you can, yeah, absolutely. Where you just, people will drop really good games, you cast them, they give you feedback, they showcase somebody. That's where Coddle Guy came out of, right? Look at him, he's hosting the biggest tournaments around the world today. Like, he's at the Shanghai Major right now as a host, and he came right out of casting the AD2L, which is the amateur Dota 2 league, and the Reddit Dota 2 league, and so it still works, it still functions, but it's extremely difficult. And I feel like as esports grows and develops and there's more premier tournaments and the top casters limit themselves to only the premier tournaments, there will be a lot more tier 2 and tier 3 content for aspiring casters to commentate on, whether that's collegiate matches, which we're just starting to see now, where these collegiate leagues are happening and they're getting tier 2 talent, and tier 2 talent is being showcased there and moving on up. So more of that kind of stuff will crop up over time. It's really just growing pains, and if you want to become a caster right now, I feel like it's a bit too hard to do so. But like I said, you will have more opportunities in the near future.
Okay. My final thoughts on it is I am a big fan of merit taking you to the top. I'm heavily against unions for personal reasons and biased, obviously.
Capitalism.
Capitalism. No, it's true. I will not hide that fact.
Fucking Trump.
It's Trump.
Fucking Trump.
No comment on that. We'll leave that for another day. Can't really dispute, fight, or win that battle, so I'll leave it be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that pretty much sums that up. Samir nailed it. No response. We'll leave it at that. All right, so guys, where can they find you?
Didn't we have one more topic? I thought we did.
We did, but our debatable never really has a
Sorry.
because we always talk about the debatable in depth, deeper than normally than what we talk about our news topics. So wrapping it up the night, Bear or Joshua, sorry, where can they find you on the internet? Can they find you on the internet? Is this
You can find me on the internet. NET exclusive. I can be found at Josh Ooh-ah on both Twitter and Instagram. That's Josh OOHAH, and
I don't
interact with
think
me
you emphasize that enough, though. Ooh-ah.
there. Waiting for the soundboard.
Yeah, Josh.
It's true.
So ghostly.
Where else can they?
Why do I
find
need to emphasize it when you guys do it? So,
Well, we only do it because you don't do it.
well, I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna do it.
All right.
You guys do it justice.
All right.
Well, and the soundboard 2017 coming. Where can they find you, Mr. Jaguar?
On Twitter, pretty much that's it. On Twitter, at Strygwyrd, at STRYGWYRD.
Say that again. It was where can I find you?
STRYGWYRD.
No. Say it.
On Twitter.
Damn. Okay.
Just put it in one of those internet things where they speak out what you type, see what it gives you. Strygwyrd. One of those. No?
I actually might do that and see what happens. Microsoft Sam. Let's see how I pronounce it.
Siri, how do you pronounce?
Pronounce these string of letters.
Yeah.
Stago.
Oh god.
I might come with it in the next show. Anyways, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Dreksama, DREKKSAMA, or Drek and Pones on Facebook. I keep a lengthy forum of discussion of esports politics and happening, so join us on that conversation there. I know actually that happened so subtly because I didn't realize people wanted to have these kind of in-depth discussions. I just posted this article on my Facebook and everyone's chirping.
Well,
So
that's what happens when you share clickbait.
it's true. It's so true. All right. Just before we sign off, a little bit of any key exclusive. This has nothing to do with anything esports, but I'm sure Delk, you'll appreciate this. Vision of Escaflowne is getting an HD dub. Just thought you'd drop that news. Makes me super happy. All right, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in. Be sure to watch the Aniki next Tuesday. Next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right here. I'm going to take longer now just because of that. Eastern Standard Time. If anyone doesn't know, Josh had to pee, and I decided I was gonna drag it out.
Any key
Here,
exclusive.
any key exclusive here on ESChamp.com. Oh, sorry, twitch.tv/ESChamp. Or you can find us on iTunes still, and SoundCloud. I think we still have SoundCloud. I heard they were closing it. I don't know if that's true or not. But for now, that's where we are. You can get us on all those mediums at ESChamp. And follow on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, ESChamp, while Instagram is ESChampGG. All right, guys, until next time, keep searching for the any key.